Welcome back to my Rose Bowl analysis. This is part 7. And before I start, I have to say well done and congratulations to Nick Saban on a wonderful career and on being able to retire at 72 years old. Hope you get to spend a lot of time with your wife, Terry, and also those grandkids. But on to the Rose Bowl analysis. Today's video is going to be a little bit shorter, a little bit more simple, which I'm going to talk a little bit about how Michigan contained Jalen Milroe in the run game. And I say contained in like a quote way because if you didn't realize, Jalen Milroe, in actual, in reality, outside of the statistics, had over 100 yards rushing. He lost 49 rushes on all of those sacks that the offensive line gave up. But in terms of just pure rushing numbers, he had over 100 rushing yards. And that was actually really impressive. But what you may not realize in that, though, is that Michigan, how they played it, they made sure to have some really sound tackling and not to give up the biggest possible Jalen Milroe run, which that really worked out in their favor down the stretch. So it's really highlighting like 3 plays basically that kind of show the overall structure of what they did rather than going through a whole bunch of examples. So let's just hop into one of the first ones that I'm going to show you today, which is in the second quarter, 9 minutes and 26 seconds left. It is 3rd and 9, and this is obviously one of those more, you might assume that, we're in a passing situation, and Alabama's probably trying to take advantage of that by then calling a run instead in this situation. And also considering all the pass rushing, they want to not give up another sack. So they're going to have Kendrick Law in motion, but they're going to have 4 people wide in total. So this is 11 personnel, 1 running back, and you got 1 tight end. And so Law's motioning, going to come across the formation, and this motion is designed to get the Michigan defense something to look at, a little eye candy, to make them look at that motion and go, oh, we need to start flowing to the offense's left, right? And the run is called like basically like a QB, like kind of power up on the right side. They made a hole with the right tackle kind of kicking out the linebacker to the right, and you got the right guard in the center kind of moving people away toward the center. Now, the issue is that when Jalen Milroe then runs up into the pocket, Michigan did a great job of beating blocks. So the tight end, Dupree, number 81, misses his block on the Michigan linebacker or a DB. I think it's the DB, obviously, who comes up. And he is able to then impact Jalen Milroe, because what's supposed to happen is Dupree gets that block. Isaiah Bunn's supposed to get the block on the safety number 0, or Jalen is going to make him miss. Hopefully, although Bunn doesn't block him, Bunn kind of goes forward instead, looking for someone else to block. I think he may have just missed his block, because I think Bunn is supposed to pin down and block 0 here, but instead he lets him run by. And so 2 bad blocks on this play kind of impact this, but the thing that Michigan did that also impacted this play or allowed them to kind of get some contain is that they all got their eyes on Jalen and they all played their contain assignment well. So you have the DB who ran directly at Jalen, and you had 0, the safety, the other DB, also kind of maintain the outside leverage, and he knows he's fast enough to keep up as well. He's not one of the slower linebackers, right, that Jalen can just run by with ease, even though Jalen runs by DBs as well. And they both kind of play this in a way where even though Jalen is able to get out of the first tackle, the safety then follows up, gets a low, a sound technical tackle on Jalen Milroe by wrapping up the leg. Like, that part alone is really good. Like, that ability to come up, get your arms wrapped around, get low, bring the guy down. He didn't try to lean in with the shoulder and do a hard hit or shy away from the contact. It was just a very disciplined tackle. And so really how Michigan contained Jalen Milroe's run is that when they got to him, even if he had some longer runs, they had disciplined tackles. And this was a really good example of that. And actually, let's go on to the next play and you'll see it at work again with another disciplined tackle. Even though they gave up the run, watch what happens on this next play, which happens a little bit later in the second quarter, near before halftime. 1 minute, 16 seconds left. It's 2nd and 15. Alabama's in 11 personnel again. 1 running back, 1 tight end, which is Amari Niblack, set to the left side of the left tackle. And you got your 3 wide receivers, 2 stacked at the bottom of the formation. So on this play, how Alabama's going to design this, or really it's a pass, but It's a play action to Rodell Williams, to running back number 5. Michigan once again with amazing pass rush, and then for all the people that said there was a running back leaking out of the backfield on every play, that was not the case here as well, at least not in time, I should say. By the time that Rodell Williams finished his chip block and was starting to run to the flat, the Michigan pass rush had already collapsed the pocket, and he had to step up and move. So that part of the play is actually really impressive to see that he feels this coming. And I think early in the year, he probably would have continued to drift backwards, and he would have gotten sacked back here, but he made some obvious improvements, and this is an example of that. Both his the left tackle was beat by the Michigan defensive end Marshall, and Rodell Williams helps out by chip blocking there. That allows Jalen Milroe some time to step up and kind of move through the pocket. And so what Jalen has to do at that point is to continue running, because at that same time, the who is it, number 23, is the linebacker here who's kind of spying Jalen, is also here. And so Jalen doesn't have time to stop and wait in the pocket and look at the field again. He just has to take off. So he's decisive on this play, and he gets out of that. Jalen is fast. Look at how quickly he leaves number 23 behind. Like, that guy cannot catch Jalen. And Jalen moves around, and Jalen now has to come up because he's now kind of coming to safety. Isaiah Bond's blocking at the top of the screen on that DB. Rod Moore, the safety, probably is one of the last people, the last line of defense on this play. And Rod Moore, if he doesn't make this tackle, I think Jalen's gone. But Rod Moore gets really good grasp of the ankle, the lower part of Jalen Milroe, and he's able to bring him down for like a 10, 11 yard gain rather than probably, how far away? Potentially like a 50-yard touchdown run. Because all of the Michigan defenders, like if you go back to the beginning of the play, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of them all either in the middle of the field or coming toward that the 2 wide receiver side of the formation. And so that means that you got most of the Michigan defense, and you got Rod Moore, who also was on that side. He was just up the field playing back. They had 2 high safeties up most of the game to prevent the deep ball. Rod Moore's on that side. So the only other player on that side was the DB, number 12, who Isaiah Bond is blocking, I believe. And I think maybe another safety further back, but I doubt they can keep up with Jalen here. So Rod Moore really saved Michigan from giving up probably a 50-yard touchdown run, or at the very least, just an easy trip into the red zone here on this play. And that tackle saved Michigan really good. But like I said, this isn't a matter of luck or explaining away things. It's really explaining how disciplined tackling makes a difference in the game. Like, Rod Moore comes low on Jalen, make sure he grabs his feet to trip him up. He knows that he can't run through him on a sound, wrap him up and bring him down to the ground tackle. So he goes for the thing. He doesn't go for it. I see so many players lunge at players and try to do a hard hit and take them down with their shoulder and things like that. He gets both his arms around both of Jalen Milroe's legs, and that causes Jalen Milroe to stumble and fall. And the reason why I know that this isn't just kind of like a fluky tackle and thing, Michigan did this type of thing all day. They obviously are trying to get their arms wrapped around Jalen Milroe to keep a hold of him and bring him down. But the thing is, when you do that also around someone's legs, even if you can't hold on, you now have constricted their movement because your legs are moving independently of each other in a continuous motion. And so the moment someone wraps them together, now they're going to run into each other, and you have to now stumble and catch yourself, and it's really hard to regain that balance. And Michigan consistently had 2 arms wrapped around Jalen Milroe when they were tackling him, and this is an example of how that really helped them. In this last play I'm going to show you is one that you saw in a previous video, and so I'm not going to explain it that much because I already did it so much, but it's the one where Jalen Milroe got he fumbled on the tackle, and this was another example of that type of tackling. So I think I may have mentioned a little bit of how that tackling impacted them in that game, but not so much because I was more so focused on the sequence itself and how Alabama didn't take advantage of this opportunity they had to continue running the ball. So it's in the fourth quarter, 12 minutes, 57 seconds, 1st and 10. Jalen Milroe is going to do this, basically this triple option type deal where you could have handed it off to Justice Haynes up the middle. He could run, or he could throw it to Jam Miller. So as Jalen Milroe then is getting to the outside, he actually slips on this field. which is very unfortunate for Alabama because I explained why that's what this turnover did for them in another video. But look at what the Michigan DB does as he comes up to tackle Jalen Milroe. So this is number 28. The way he comes up, look at both arms. Both arms are wrapping around Jalen Milroe as he drops down. Michigan, they teach them how to tackle really well. The guy drops down, gets good leverage, sets his feet, and jumps forward to wrap around the lower half of Jalen Milroe's body. But simultaneously, he gets a hand on the football, and he also then is able to strip the football out. So not only is he going for a more sound tackle here, where he's able to and look at how he holds onto his legs. Like, he does a better job than Rod Moore does. He actually is able to keep his arms wrapped around Jalen Milroe's leg, and Jalen can't move. And so that type of tackle really saved Michigan from giving up even more Jalen Milroe runs. Like, I think some people were mistaken into thinking that Michigan completely shut down Jalen Milroe running. They didn't, and Milroe actually had a really solid game running. The crazy part was that Michigan's defense is so good, it stopped it from being like a monstrous game running. Like, I think Jalen Milroe probably could have had like 170 yards rushing in this game, which is crazy to think about. That's just me kind of predicting, like estimating a little bit of speculation, but it was pretty impressive how much Michigan was able to contain Jalen Milroe after he breaks the pocket. Because when he decides and commits to running, it's really hard to stop him. Just ask LSU. And Michigan was prepared to do what they needed to do when he did break through that pass rush that they got through and the contain that they tried to give him. So really good job by Michigan's defense here. And I just wanted to highlight this aspect of the game because I feel like it didn't get enough thought, enough attention, especially considering that the QB run game for Alabama was actually very impressive, just a little bit under the radar and not statistically representative of that. So I don't know what you thought about that. I would love to hear your thoughts on this game as well and about this particular aspect of the game. But thank you for watching. I will see you next time for part 8 of my Rose Bowl analysis.